No, but I mean, she's sort of she's a little bit of a villain in ways, but I mean, I think she's just delicious and fun, and it was nice to just like as we were talking about facades, just like let all the facades down and just really just like work on disappointing my mom across the board. It was like everything that I tried not to be growing up, I just got to be in this film, so it's great.
That's what I tried to bring to it because I felt like that was the way that I could give everyone the most authentic Lily. I speak like me, move. Like, this is the most time I move my hands because I move my hands a lot in real life and my face. And when I'm acting, I try not to do that because people in real life maybe don't move their hands as much, but I do. So I just, I just let more of myself come through. And so I feel like, yeah, I feel like you can feel the authenticity in Lily because she's not pretending to be someone. It's just, yeah, the true feelings.
Hey, besties. What if I told you that I'm starting to get the sense that Blake Lively's attorneys don't buy what she's selling, or else they're growing tired of her? And what if I told you it almost feels like they exposed her in a way that is the exact opposite of what she's been claiming her motives are for filing this lawsuit? If you recall, Blake Lively, when she came forward and spoke out, she said that she was doing this so that she could be a voice for others, so that she could inspire others to use their voice because fear by design keeps you silent. And she was claiming that these lawsuits were about standing up for women. Except civil lawsuits are not about standing up for anyone. They're about money. They're about damages. They're about recouping losses from people that have caused your business injury or have caused you damages. They're not actually about standing up for anyone but yourself. Now, I fully support the lawsuit that was filed by Wayfair and Jen Abel and Melissa Nathan, and I believe they all deserve every dollar that they can get out of this. If it's 500 million, fine. If it's 200 million, fine. If it's 50 million, whatever. They deserve compensation for the heck that Blake and Ryan and Leslie Sloane have put them through. But there was a statement that came out, and I just wanted to touch on it. Withdrawing two of your main claims that would demonstrate to a court how much pain and suffering you've gone through and how much of an injury you've experienced emotionally is a critical aspect when you're filing any kind of civil lawsuit and you're claiming that the what happened to you and what you experienced was so severe and so pervasive that it altered your life and led you to, continue to suffer as a result of it. And when you file a lawsuit like Blake has, it's very common that intentional infliction of emotional distress is filed with it because, I mean, think of the average person that goes through this, that really goes through this, and how damaging what they go through is. And for many of these people, it's they lose their jobs or they lose their friends, they become, scared, they might be diagnosed with PTSD, they might, deal with anxiety, depression. I mean, I'm a victim of SA, and after the incident, I was diagnosed with PTSD. I went to therapy for more than 2 years. I dealt with flashbacks and disassociation, and I had to go through like therapy and deal with like really tough memories and fragmented memory, which was so hard. And my entire world shattered. Like I stopped going out. I isolated myself from friends and family. I was terrified of the world. These are the kinds of damaging, lasting impacts that can happen to someone that's a victim of SA or SH. And I had nightmares and I would get triggered and I would disassociate. I mean, it's just what you experience when you're a victim, like no one should go through. And if you truly had claims and you really are a victim, you would present that evidence to a court, as hard as it is. Now, some people don't go and file civil lawsuits. In fact, it's generally not the first line of action many take, right? A lot of it goes unreported because a lot of us don't feel like we're believed. If we do report it, nothing happens because often these cases become he said, she said, or our character is put under a microscope. And so for a lot of us, we just keep it quiet because we don't want to re-traumatize ourselves. But Blake brazenly walked into this situation and said that she was doing this for all women. And she knew full well by filing these claims that she would open herself up to having to give up her medical records. And it's not an invasion of her privacy that they're seeking medical records. It's standard. This is a byproduct of filing civil litigation and claiming intentional infliction of emotional distress because they need to get notes from if she has a therapist, if she's seeing a doctor, if she's going to a psychiatrist, if she's getting mental health services, if she's gotten any diagnoses that have been linked to it. But it also gives them access to any of her records before this so they can determine if she was dealing with something before, right? It's really hard to prove intentional infliction of emotional distress unless you have a seriously traumatic event that happens in your. So in Blake's case, she had the opportunity to be fully transparent and instead she decided not to, okay? And so for a lot of people, they feel like this is a sign that she's lying because what is she trying to hide? I mean, this would also allow them access to marital therapy records and any kind of counseling that she's done. It helps them identify any access, and it also would expose her to an evaluation by someone that they appoint. If you remember, Amber Heard had to go through 2 days of testing with a forensic psychologist that diagnosed her with a couple personality disorders, or she wasn't officially diagnosed. She said she exhibited these symptoms of like borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality. But if Blake were going to go down that route, she would have to go through that too. And when you have to go through that, it opens your door. I mean, Johnny Depp had to go through it and they were trying to say he's a narcissist, and he very well could be. Hollywood's full of them. But that's what you sign up for when you're going into litigation, okay? So she's not a victim because they were asking her to do this. But if you're so serious about it, you would be doing this and being an example for women, right? And yesterday, when they filed the motion to compel, which we know now has already been resolved and the claims are dead. But immediately after filing that motion to compel, her attorneys ran to the Daily Mail and every other outlet and issued a statement that left me utterly shocked. I was pretty shocked to begin with because it's Blake Lively, but what they were saying made absolutely no sense to me, and it defied logic and rational thinking and any sort of critical thinking. And I'm starting to think that her attorneys don't even believe what she's saying anymore because their arguments are wild. It says the motion was filed for a single audience, the media. There's nothing for this court to compel. I mean, that's true. But a Lively's team told the Daily Mail, this is a routine part of the litigation process that is being used as a press stunt. We are doing what trial lawyers do, preparing our case for trial by streamlining and focusing it. They are doing what they do, desperately seeking another tired round of tabloid coverage. Miss Lively continues to allege emotional distress as part of numerous other claims in her lawsuit, such as sexual harassment and retaliation, and massive additional compensatory damages on all of her claims. I just want you guys to sit on that. Massive additional compensatory damages on all of her claims. I thought she was doing this to be a voice for victims. I thought she was doing this to stand up for her daughters and show them who she was. It's not normal what's happening here with her attorneys. I want you guys to understand this. And it's not normal for a victim of SH to be through the media and through their attorney bragging that they're not going to comply with discovery. They're going to drop two of the biggest claims, which are at the base and the center of the pain and suffering she's supposedly been experiencing, and instead deflect to say, we have other claims that we can get huge payouts on. And so it exposed two things for me. Her attorneys are ambulance chasers that are after a payday, and I think they believe they can shake down Baldoni for money, and they are chasing after a pot of gold, and Blake is funding their vacation houses and their Tiffany's bracelets they might be buying and their jewelry and their new Porsches they might get. It's a money grab for them. No, nothing else. If you've been damaged, like Wayfair, their company's been damaged. Justin lost his his agent. His career is in questionable status right now. They've had to close down their foundation. Wayfair Studio is the whole entire studio is in doubt as far as what their future is. They were seriously looking like being a way up and coming, studio, and they became profitable. And now they don't know what that future looks like. And the nonprofit they had set up to help other people has shuttered. People have lost their jobs. Reputations of people that were otherwise private have been destroyed, and they have actually been damaged. I don't disagree with their lawsuits, and I don't disagree with them for taking all of her money. But if you're a victim of SA or SH, your goal should never be massive additional compensatory damages. Your point after you withdraw your claims of emotional distress should not be that I have other claims where I can make way more money. And the judge did make the emotional distress claims dead. I know there's like this huge argument that he didn't. He did. His order basically said because Lively is refusing to comply with discovery and she isn't going to give up the evidence that they're seeking to prove these claims, he's not going to allow her to change her mind in 2 months and try to litigate and bring evidence to the court after the fact. And so he has said these claims are dead. Every media outlet is reporting it the exact same. The only difference that they have to figure out is how they're going to withdraw these claims, with prejudice or without. Everything else, once it's dead, it's dead. And without prejudice doesn't even matter because he said even without prejudice, you're not bringing them back into my court, even after they're dismissed. So they're out. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, she's after money. We know this, right? Well, then I saw something else. So Sarah Nathan, who is Melissa Nathan's sister, she filed a motion to quash, and she apparently has been subpoenaed by Leslie for all documents related to the film. Now, if you remember, Sarah Nathan is a journalist that works for the New York Post and Page Six. She's the editor at large, and she didn't work on this film, and she wrote a total of 2 articles. And one of her sources, we know from text messages, was Leslie. So she's also subpoenaing a guy from the Daily Mail named James, who's also one of Sarah Nathan's sources was Leslie Sloane, and one of James at Daily Mail's sources was Leslie Sloane. But she's trying to flip it. And